Absolutely possible here. This should be our biggest snowstorm going back to at least 2018 in a lot of towns and maybe 2015 in others. So this is a look at the timeline. Some light snow will likely develop as we head into tomorrow evening. Now, this wouldn't be the main event, but it could make for some slick roads, and snow would start to pick up overnight. But the real deal really starts on Saturday morning. Be with us all day, peaking from mid to late morning right through the evening hours. Blizzard conditions look very likely with this storm. Those blizzard warnings would likely be issued tomorrow by the Weather Service. So here's a look at the snow amounts. The big change tonight: storm farther west, expanding the snow farther inland. So a big broad area of 12 to 18, maybe 12 to 20 inches of snow. Now we've got to figure out where will the bands set up. If you remember just the storm at the beginning of the month, you had that one band where it was snowing like crazy. Well, a storm like this is probably going to have two bands that set up. One that looks very likely is across the South Shore and heading back toward the Providence area. This is where we have some ocean enhancement along with that banding. So you got 18 to 28 inches of snow and potentially up to 36 in some towns where these bands do end up forming. We'll see if they have to move it all during the day tomorrow. But also another band that will happen farther to the northwest, and it looks like more toward the Worcester area, 495 belt, up toward the Merrimack Valley. That will be another zone to watch. Could see some snowfall in the order of 3 to 4 inches per hour in these bands, because we'll have light and fluffy snowfall that will stack on up. Where it'll be less light and fluffy will be toward the lower and outer Cape, as well as Nantucket. So at this point, thinking we'll get some lower totals there, but it will be a full-fledged blizzard, and you'll certainly have plenty of snow when all is said and done. In terms of January snowstorms in Boston, you look at the top 5 list, and you get a couple of feet. If that band sets up over the city, that's possible. You're basically at the top of the list. Number one spot was that first really big storm in 2015, and then we had a blizzard in 2005. 78 is the storm before the blizzard of 78, which was a couple of weeks later. This was a huge snowstorm, and then, of course, we know what happened after that, so that was quite a run. Here's a look at that timing. Tomorrow evening, we've got the snow starting to fill in, but again, it's generally light overnight, and by Saturday morning, it's picking up. And Saturday, if you don't have to be on the roads, it's a day to hang out inside and watch the show. We've got the wind, we've got the snow bands. There will likely be thunder snow out there with this storm, no doubt about that. And it's a cold one. We're in the teens and 20s, which is why you get a fluffy snow consistency, and it will stack right up. There'll be a lot of blowing and drifting of that snowfall because of that consistency. But it also reduces any power outage risk away from the coast where we have the stronger winds. Notice the temps are a little warmer, Hyannis eastward, which is why we have that wetter snow type. And then as we head late into the evening, we'll start to bring down the intensity. I don't think it completely pulls away until after midnight. In terms of the snow ratios, everyone wants to know about the cleanup. Is it slop, cement, or is it something that's a little bit more manageable? This will be more manageable, just a lot of it. Some of those really wet storms, you get about 5 inches of snow for 1 inch of water. This one's going to be more like 15 to 20 inches of snow per 1 inch of water. So those snow ratios are high. It stacks right on up. This storm will barely exist. You're watching the news on Friday evening, but by the time we get to Saturday evening, this develops so quickly, it will drop about 41 millibars in 24 hours. That's about bombogenesis 2 times over. These big drops in pressure are important because they create intense precipitation, rain and snow, and they also create a lot of wind. So travel, definitely not something that's advisable here during the day on Saturday. Heavy snow, strong winds, and moderate coastal flooding are all elements of this storm. So it brings all the things that we expect from a major nor'easter together. Some of those gusts will be 40 to 55 miles per hour at that eastern end of the state. And again, the blowing and drifting will be pretty incredible when we talk about all said and done. And some 60 to 75 mile per hour gusts will be likely near the coast. Some of the most exposed areas, elevated areas, may gust around 85 or 90 miles per hour as we make our way into the late afternoon and evening. Tides, there's a bit of good news. We'll have minor coastal flooding on Saturday morning, but the afternoon brings a low tide, and then the next high tide is a lower one in the evening. And this is usually the difference at the coast between the really historic storms and the really bad storms. This will go into the more the really bad category because of that lower water level. Expecting moderate coastal flooding here, bay side of the Cape, South Shore, backside of Cape Ann as well, because the winds will be more northerly at this point, and Nantucket Harbor, and a lot of wave action and erosion possible with the storm. As for tomorrow, as we get ready, temperatures will be in the 30s. Some light snow may break out in spots, but again, that's not really the main storm itself. And as we clean up on Sunday, some chilly air in the 20s. It'll be a dry day, and then as we look toward Monday and Tuesday, we start moderating. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is where we could get some rain, warmer temperatures. And because this is a dry and fluffy snow, it tends to disappear a lot easier. I think there'll be quite a bit of melting at the end of next week. David and Lisa, back to you.
All right.
Thanks, Eric.
Great explanation, Eric. Thank you. Well, giving back through